The first time she said it, I thought I misheard her. "I can't take it anymore." It was barely a whisper, fragile like something that might shatter if it touched the air too harshly. But I heard it, I felt it, and in that moment, something inside me shifted in a way I still can't fully explain. If you've ever felt a moment like that, when everything suddenly becomes heavier, more real than you were ready for, then you already understand the kind of night this was. Before we go further, take a second to support the journey. Like this video, drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. Share it with someone who needs a story tonight, and subscribe to the channel's Stories Beyond the Porch, so you don't miss what comes next. Because what happened after that whisper, it changed both of us forever. It had been a long evening already, the kind that stretches endlessly, filled with unspoken tension and quiet exhaustion. The sky was a dull gray fading into night, and the streets were nearly empty, as if the world itself had decided to keep its distance. She sat beside me in the passenger seat, her hands trembling in her lap, her eyes fixed on something far away that I couldn't see. I had known her for years, but never like this, never broken, never hollow. She had always been the strong one, the one who laughed too loudly, smiled too brightly, carried everyone else's burdens like they were her own. But that night, all of that strength had disappeared, leaving behind someone I barely recognized. There was something haunting about the silence between us. Not uncomfortable, not awkward, just heavy, like it was filled with everything she wasn't saying. I didn't ask questions. I didn't push. Some moments don't need words, they need presence. And then she whispered it again. "I can't take it anymore." This time there was no mistaking it. I glanced at her, really looked at her, and what I saw scared me. Not because she looked weak, but because she looked like someone who had finally reached the edge. The kind of edge you don't come back from easily. I didn't ask where she wanted to go. I just started driving. The road ahead stretched into darkness, illuminated only by the soft glow of the headlights. The city slowly faded behind us, replaced by empty highways and distant hills. I didn't have a destination in mind. I just knew we needed to get away from everything, from everyone, from whatever was crushing her spirit piece by piece. She didn't question it. She didn't even look up. She just sat there, silent, as if she had finally given up fighting something she'd been battling alone for far too long. Time passed in a strange, blurred way. Minutes felt like hours, and yet somehow it all moved too fast. The world outside the car became unfamiliar, distant, almost unreal. It felt like we had stepped outside of everything we knew, into a place where nothing else mattered except that moment. Finally, I pulled over. It wasn't anywhere special, just a quiet stretch of land overlooking a dark, endless valley. No lights, no noise, no people, just silence. The kind of silence that forces you to face yourself. For a while, neither of us moved. Then, slowly, she broke. Not loudly, not dramatically, just quietly, completely. Tears slipped down her face without resistance, like she didn't even have the energy to hold them back anymore. It wasn't just sadness. It was exhaustion. The kind that seeps into your bones, into your soul, until you forget what it feels like to be okay. I didn't try to fix it. I didn't offer empty words or forced comfort. I just stayed. Because sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do for someone isn't to solve their pain, but to sit with them in it. And eventually, she began to talk. Not in full sentences, not in clear explanations, just fragments. Pieces of a life that had slowly become too much. Pressure from every direction. Expectations she couldn't meet. Loneliness she couldn't escape. A constant feeling of drowning while everyone else expected her to keep swimming like nothing was wrong. She had been fighting silently for so long that she didn't even know how to ask for help anymore. And somehow, that night, she finally did. Not directly, not clearly, but that whisper, that simple, broken sentence, was her way of reaching out. Hours passed like that. The night grew deeper, colder, quieter, but something else began to change too. The weight in the air started to lift, just slightly. The tension that had wrapped itself around her began to loosen. Because for the first time in a long time, she wasn't alone. We didn't fix everything that night. We didn't magically erase the pain or solve every problem waiting for her back in the real world. But we did something just as important. We created a pause, a moment where she could breathe again, a place where she didn't have to pretend, a reminder that even at your lowest point, when everything feels like it's collapsing around you, there is still a way back. Even if it starts with something as small as a whisper. When the first light of morning touched the horizon, she looked different. Not completely healed, not suddenly okay, but lighter, like someone who had finally put down a burden they didn't realize they were carrying alone. And when we drove back, the world didn't feel as heavy as it had before. Because sometimes, escaping isn't about running away forever. Sometimes, it's about finding a place where you can gather the strength to return. If this story touched something inside you, if it reminded you of someone, or maybe even yourself, take a moment right now. Like the video, share your thoughts in the comments, and send it to someone who might need to hear this. And don't forget to subscribe to Stories Beyond the Porch for more stories that stay with you long after they end. And before you go, I have a small but meaningful request. Comment one line, "You're not alone." Because somewhere out there, someone might read it and realize, for the first time in a long time, that they're not facing everything by themselves.